There is a stretch of road in Houston that for a little while in the fall of 2008 was the emptiest wide road in America. Picture it at dusk. Where there used to be a wall of brake lights, there is now new concrete going out in every direction. Main lanes, frontage roads, toll lanes down the middle. At its widest point, counting everything, 26 lanes across. Wide enough that people had started calling it the widest freeway in the world. And on those first evenings, a driver could get on at the West Loop and simply go. No crawl, no Red River ahead, just open pavement and the flat Gulf sky turning orange and the quiet, almost guilty pleasure of a road that finally had room for you. That driver had no way of knowing the emptiness had a shelf life. They had waited years for this. Texas had spent something close to $2.8 billion to build it. A local headline promised that commuters would, at last, get some relief. And for a little while, they did. Keep that first empty drive in mind, because within a few years, on the freeway's own traffic sensors, the drive home along these same lanes would be slower than it had been on the brand new road itself. Worse, a few years in than it was the season it opened. More lanes, more money than almost any urban road project in the country, and a drive home sliding the wrong way. This is the story of the widest answer money could buy to a problem everyone agreed on, and of what came back to fill it. Stay with me, because the strange part is not that it failed. The strange part is that it worked exactly the way roads work, and almost nobody wanted to believe it. To understand why anyone would build a road this wide, you have to understand how bad the wait had gotten. By 2004, the Katy Freeway, Interstate 10, heading west out of Houston, was not just a local complaint. Where it met the West Loop, it was ranked the second worst traffic bottleneck in the entire country. Federal descriptions of the corridor talk about congestion lasting up to 11 hours a day. 11 hours. That is not a rush hour. That is a road that is jammed from breakfast until well after dark, with a couple of hours off in the middle to catch its breath. The freeway had been built for a different Houston. Its lanes were laid out to carry something like 79,000 vehicles a day. By the early 2000s, it was carrying more than 200,000. Nearly 3 times what it was designed to hold, poured onto the same concrete every single day. You know this feeling even if you have never been to Houston. It is the wait you would give almost anything to shorten. The hour that belongs to you spent not moving. The dinner you keep missing. The part of the day the road quietly takes and never gives back. If someone had stood in front of those drivers in 2004 and promised to fix it, to just build enough road once and for all, they would have believed it. Most of us would have. That belief is the whole story. Hold on to it. The land this freeway crosses was not always a commute. West of Houston, out on the coastal prairie, there was a rice farming town called Katy. It took its name from a railroad, the MKT line, the Katy, that ran through the flat country where the rice fields flooded and, in winter, geese came down onto the water in the cold, gray mornings. It was a small place, quiet. The kind of town you passed through, not the kind you commuted from. Then, in the 1960s, the interstate came through, laid down over the old road, and the prairie started to change into something else. First, a few subdivisions, then more. Rice fields became cul-de-sacs. The town that used to be the end of the drive became the beginning of one. And every new house, full of people who wanted, reasonably, to live somewhere green and drive into the city for work, added a few more cars to a road that was already too full. By the turn of the century, the pressure was unbearable. And Texas decided to do what Texas has always believed in. If a road is full, you build a bigger road, not a slightly bigger road, the biggest. Ground broke in the summer of 2003. The work took 5 years and cost close to $2.8 billion. Federal money, state money, and toll money braided together in a way that had rarely been tried on an interstate before. and the scale of it was real. To make that much room, the right-of-way had to widen, which meant the road reached out and took what was beside it. Frontage businesses, the fronts of yards, the margins of a town that had already been swallowed once. The widest cross-section out east of Gessner Road became a river of concrete you could not photograph in a single frame from the ground. I want to be fair to the people who built this. This was not vanity. This was a sincere and enormous bet made with real money and real belief to give hundreds of thousands of people an hour of their lives back. That sincerity is exactly what makes what happened next so hard to look at. The main lanes opened in October of 2008. The managed toll lanes down the center followed the next spring, and at first, the bet looked won. The drive opened up. Those early, almost empty evenings were real. If you had commuted that road for 20 years, that first easy trip home must have felt like being handed back something the city had stolen from you. Now watch what happens next, because it happens slowly, the way these things always do. The road does not jam again all at once. It fills the way a room fills at a party. A few more each week, no single arrival you could blame. A family that used to avoid the Katy at rush hour starts taking it again, because now it is quick. Someone who used to leave at 6 to beat the traffic starts leaving at 8, because now they can. And out past the edge of town, where the prairie is still turning into subdivisions, a young couple looks at a bigger house with a longer commute and thinks, with the new freeway, that drive isn't so bad. So they buy it, and they join the road too. Houston keeps its own record of this. A regional system wires the freeways with sensors and clocks how long the trips actually take. And when analysts went back and pulled the numbers for this corridor between 2011 and 2014, the new road measured against itself 3 years on. Here is what the freeway's own data showed. The morning commute had grown about 30% longer. The evening commute, about 55%. Not longer than the terrible old days before the rebuild. Longer than the brand new road had been just 3 years earlier. The widest freeway anyone had ever built was filling back up, lane by lane, and the drive home was sliding back the wrong way, toward the very thing all that concrete had been poured to end. Think about who is inside that number. It is the commuter who believed 2008, who felt that first open road and trusted it, who maybe moved farther out because the drive had gotten easy, and by 2014 is sitting in it again, a little older, having bet part of their life on a promise the concrete could not keep. When the numbers came out, the obvious reaction was that the project had failed. Too little somehow, even at 26 lanes, or badly built, or swallowed by a growing city. That last one deserves a fair hearing, because it is true as far as it goes. West Houston was booming in exactly these years. New jobs, new neighborhoods, tens of thousands of new people. Some analysts looked at the slower drive and said this was not the road's fault at all. It was just growth, a wave of demand that had been building for years and would have swamped any road. Pent-up need finally arriving, but there is a quieter, harder explanation, and it had been sitting in plain sight for 50 years. Back in 1962, an economist named Anthony Downs wrote down what he called the law of peak hour expressway congestion. On a busy urban commuter road, he said, traffic rises to fill the capacity you give it. Build more room, and the room calls in more cars. Years later, he gave the mechanism a name, triple convergence, and it is almost insultingly simple. Widen a road and the drivers converge back onto it from 3 directions. The ones who used to take another route, the ones who used to travel at another hour, and the ones who used to take the bus and now decide to drive. They keep coming until the new road is as slow as the old one, and a kind of equilibrium, a miserable one, settles back over the whole thing. For a long time, that was a theory some people found too clever. Then, in 2011, two economists, Gilles Duranton and Matthew Turner, measured it across American cities and found the relationship was almost 1-to-1. Add a certain amount of highway, and after a while you get roughly that same proportion, more driving to fill it. Not sometimes, as a rule. The Katy Freeway is what that law looks like when you build it as big as it will go. And here is the turn, the thing you have to stop and see. The road did not fail to hold the traffic. The road summoned the traffic. That is the part that rearranges everything behind it. An empty lane is not a solution sitting in reserve, waiting to be used up by demand that already exists. An empty lane is an invitation. It lowers the price of a trip in time, in patience, in how far away you can afford to live. And people take the discount. They always take the discount. More trips get made, longer commutes become bearable, farther houses get bought, and the traffic that shows up was, in a real sense, created by the very lanes meant to relieve it. We had the story backward the whole time. We pictured traffic as water and a wider road as a wider pipe to drain it. But traffic was never water. Traffic is a field. Give it room and it grows to fill the room. And what this field grew, house by house, trip by trip, out on the widening prairie, was more of us. Even the people who had spent careers on the side of building capacity felt the ground move. One of them is Tim Lomax, a researcher at the Texas A&M Transportation Institute. A man who has spent his working life measuring congestion and, more often than not, making the case for more road. He looked at how fast the new Katy had refilled, and what he said was not a defense and not a denial. It was quieter than that. "I'm surprised," he said, "at how rapid the increase has been." Surprised on the widest road we ever built, watching a 50-year-old law arrive right on schedule. The 26 lanes, the $2.8 billion, the slower drive. None of it is a scandal anymore once you see it this way. It is a law working exactly as written. We just did not want it to be true. Today, the Katy Freeway has a second life it never wanted. It has become the example. When a city somewhere proposes to fix its traffic by adding lanes, this is the road that gets brought up. The cautionary tale. The one they call the widest freeway in the world. The one that spent a fortune to get slower. But the lesson people take from it is usually too small. They treat it as a fact about highways. A planning mistake. Something a smarter engineer would have avoided. I don't think it is about highways at all. Look at the shape of it again and take the road out. Someone is stuck. They are promised that a little more room, one more lane, one more size up will finally set them free. They pay dearly for that room. They get it. And for one brief season, it is everything they hoped. Then the room fills quietly from every direction at once until they are standing in the same weight they were so sure they had escaped, wondering where the space went. You have lived some version of that. The bigger house that filled with more to keep. The raise that vanished into a life that grew to meet it. The free hour you finally won, gone before you could sit down in it. We are all, most of our lives, widening the road, reaching for the size that will finally be enough. And the traffic keeps arriving from other roads, other times, other parts of the life we did not think to count. Go back to that road at dusk, the wide one, west out of Houston. It is not empty now. It is full, patient, glowing, brake lights strung out toward the county line, all those lanes of people going home at the speed of every other evening. Somewhere in it, there is a driver old enough to remember the first night it opened, when for a few miles it was briefly, impossibly clear, and it felt like the future had finally arrived. That clear road was real. It just doesn't last. And some part of us has always known it doesn't last. The wide open free road we keep getting promised exists only in the first month after it opens. We cannot build our way to enough. 50 years of evidence say so. And the road we built as wide as we dared says so out loud every evening at rush hour. And still, knowing all of it, we will widen the next one. We'll pour the concrete and cut the ribbon and feel that first open mile and believe again that this time we made enough room. Maybe that is the most human thing on the whole prairie, not the traffic, the believing.